So let us start our session from where we have stopped yesterday. That is regarding string interning. Okay. So let me start the program where we actually, some of the students got a doubt when I am typing. For example, let me share my screen and start. For a brief amount of time, we will discuss again about the string interning, and then we will continue with today's topic. Okay. So yesterday I was typing something like this: string 1 is equal to Python, string 2 is equal to same. Oh, sorry, I think I typed string 1 equal to Python into 3000. Okay, then string 2 is also same. If you can see, the length of string 1 is 18,000 characters and length of string 2. I hope I am very much audible to you and you are able to watch my screen. Now, when string 1 is equal to string 2, obviously because each and every character in string 1 and string 2 are same, it will give true. When I type string 1 is string 2, it gave false because this string is not interned. String 1, so this, or you can say these strings are not interned in Python. That you should be very clear. Let me take the screenshot. Now, in the program, actually in a hurry, I should actually show you not this 5000. Okay. I should not show you the 5000, but actually I should have showed you first normal string, which is interned. Remember one thing, comparison of the string with double equal to or comparing the string with is will have a difference only for the interned strings, not for the strings which are not interned. What I mean to say, in case if a string is interned, then let me again write here. Actually, I showed you the correct program instead of showing two different examples. By in a hurry or by mistake, I showed you an example which is not relevant to that particular program. Okay, so only when the strings are interned, it makes sense to compare double equal to and is operators. Why? Why? Because comparing strings with location is better than comparing character by character. Okay, so with this understanding, let me take the screenshot and let me clear all the drawings. Now let me change string 1 to Python programming. Python underscore programming. Let me change string 1 also as it is. String 1 equal to. Now string 1 double equal to string 2. Immediately it will give true. At this point of time, when you are executing only one comparison, you will not be able to sense the amount of time it might have taken. It will be negligible in terms of seconds. It is very, very negligible. Similarly, both are true. Now, when you can know the time difference, As I told you, the time taken by double equal to is more than is operator. How to identify? To identify the time difference. Okay. Now let us try to see Python programming with double equal to and also is operator for 10,000 times. Every operator is called 10,000 times. Now what will happen? Python programming will be compared with Python programming. Basically string 1 and string 2 are compared by using double equal to symbol 10,000 times. We calculate the time, and then the same 10,000 we will use the is operator. Is it clear now, participants? Is it clear now? See, the double equal to or is operator comparison should be done only for the strings that are interned. When a string is not interned, there is no way of using is operator. Why? Because is operator is exclusively used for, suppose in case if you want to use is operator for comparing the strings, then is operator can be utilized only for the strings which are interned, but not for the strings which are not interned. So yesterday, when I executed the program, it's my mistake. I should admit about that. I should not have executed the program directly with 5,000 because this string will not be interned. When this string is not interned, there is no point of executing this program to find the time difference between double equal to operator and is operator. What I should have done is a normal string which is interned. Is it clear, participants? Let me come. Is it clear? I am okay. Only one response has come. Okay, thank you, Subhash, Syed. So let us try to execute this program. You can clearly see even this is having a negligible difference like 0.004003, but if you can see here, it is 0. Means point not 2 less than the equality. So it's basically negligible, but still there is a time difference. Identity verification for string interned strings is better than character by character. So with this, a short brief about the topic what we have left yesterday. So I hope everybody is convinced, and I think Kiran sir and Sujit sir has shared us the document about the string interning. So you can read more and learn more about it. Now, let us quickly start a new topic today. Today, we are going to learn two different topics. One is non-primitive data structures in Python, and second one is how user-defined functions can be written. These two topics we will try to cover in today's session. So for that, so let me just try to write a brief notes about it. There are few non-primitive data structures in Python. There are few non-primitive data structures. What is this non-primitive data structures? Basically, how you can store data. 1, list. 2, tuple. 3, dictionary. Another one is also there, sets. Another one is also there called as sets or a set. Let us try to understand how we can represent data in these 4 categories of data structures in Python. Okay. We will also learn about now what is the list. Instead of telling theoretical part, okay. So let me just tell you today's topic 1 will be non-primitive data structures, and topic 2 will be functions and modules in Python. Functions and modules in Python. So these are the topics that we are going to understand today. So instead of telling the theoretical part, what is a list and all, let me directly go and type a program, understand list.py. So I'm opening a new program for you. What is a list? Okay. This entire program, I will try to explain you the foundational concepts about lists. Okay. And I have shared you one Python tutorial. If you want to know more about these topics, you can always go through. And in case if you have any doubt, you can always respond to me in the chat box or in the WhatsApp groups of Python for Engineers. Okay. To understand the basic concepts of lists. Basic concepts of lists. Okay, so I think one of the participant Akanksha has responded. List is used to store multiple items in a single variable. Okay, so I will definitely agree with the answer of Akanksha. Fine. So now let us try to understand. Square brackets. You might have observed these square brackets in the concept of arrays in C language. We used square brackets, right? For example, in C language, we may write A of 5, something like that. So whenever we use any square bracket, I think people who have any understanding about C language will immediately recollect, okay, square bracket is there in C language also. Okay, let us, I'm not trying to compare array here with list, but basically list can be an empty, like create empty list. How to create an empty list? Simple. Give square bracket. If you give square bracket and if you don't give anything inside, it becomes an empty list. So imagine my list equal to simple square bracket. Then print my list and print type of my list. Is it not? So a list need not be group of many elements. A list can be empty also. A list can be empty also. So let me come and try to execute the program here to check what is going to get displayed for an empty list. See, line number 4 gave me empty square brackets. Line number 4 gave me empty square brackets where the type gave me class list. So what is a list in Python? First thing is, as a technical student or as a technical graduate where you are pursuing your BE or BTech, you should not immediately tell group of elements. What Akanksha has told, it's correct only. I am not denying the fact. I am not saying the participant who responded is wrong. 100% I think Akanksha is correct. But you should first talk about more technical aspect of the property of the list in Python. For example, see, I am telling this only because you guys are going to have a campus placements and you are going to prepare for campus placements. So this is one kind of a technical tip that I can offer you as a a student and a current faculty. Even I prepared for campus selections when I am studying my MTech first year. Okay. So what is a list in Python? A list is an object of class list. It's an basically a list is an object of class list. Then you have to tell what is this list. Okay. So a list is represented with square brackets. Basically, that's an empty list. You can also say an empty list is represented with a square brackets. And it's an object of class list. It's an object of class list. Okay. Now, let us go further. Let us go further and try to understand. One second. I have kept these things in comments, so I'm going to reuse for some other concept. A list can be group of same data type elements. So slowly we are moving from an empty list to a list which can be group of same data type elements. Then how to define, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what will happen? Obviously, when you are printing in line number 10, I will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Type will be same. Type will be same. So a list can be group of same data type elements. A list can be group of same data type elements. So there is no big deal in understanding this piece of code. Now you guys have, it's very easy to understand. Now, let us try to understand one small hidden concept in MyList. Okay. Now, let us try to understand what is the address of this particular MyList. What is the address of MyList? For example, ID of MyList, where it is stored. Obviously, there will be an address. Obviously, there will be an address. Is it not? Now, when I write additional line and execute, you will get one address. You will get one address. 54646312. Okay. Now, from this output, you may not realize anything from list because, okay, list is a group of elements. Obviously, list is an class list object, and definitely to store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my list, that my list should be stored somewhere. So that is the address. 54646312 is the address of the object MyList. Now, let us try to write a small piece of code here. That is, for element in my list, print element. What is line number 13 and 14? It is saying that a list is an iterable object. A list is an iterable object. What is an iterable object? Individual elements can be accessed. Individual elements can be accessed. Okay. Now when I am executing this program, definitely line number 15 will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individually. Instead of giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time, it will give item by item. So now I hope you guys might have understood that previous execution gave me an address which is different than this address. That means lists are not interned. Just because we are discussing about integers, there is an integer interning. Then we discussed about string, there is a string interning. Okay, there is no list interning. Okay, so don't get confused with a different address what was there in the previous output and this output. Okay, now as a whole, the type of list is class list. Type of list is class list. Is it not? Now, let us try to understand what is the type of each element. Or I can say directly element comma type of element. Okay. So I think this will do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are stored in my list, and the type of my list is class list. Now in line number 14, I am trying to iterate through the list object, and then in line number 15, I am printing the element with the type of element. Now let us try to understand the output of the program. Clearly you can see as a whole, it is an object of list, correct? Class list. But individual items, they are integer objects. That's why I wrote a list can be a group of same data type elements. That's the proof here. Okay. As a whole, it's a list object, but individually they are integer objects. So how we can say here in, or let me directly write in the annotation text box so that it is more easy to refer for you. My list is an object of class list where 5 integer objects are stored. 5 integer objects are stored. So when I am saying about this, it looks like an array. At this point of time, list looks like an array in C language, but it is not. Why it is not, I will tell you. List looks like an array in C language at this point, because even array also will have, maybe array will have a size, but it is also like with respect to, here I can say with respect to storing same data type elements. Same data type elements. Now let me take a screenshot and let me also show you the ID of the element. Now we are going further. See, first of all, a list is a group of elements. That's very simple to understand. Now let us try to understand how exactly this list is organized in the system level. Basically, how the memory management has been handled in a list. Just imagine there is a integer. Just imagine what is happening here. as a whole, the list is stored in 59168296. But from where the values are being stored, there are no values here. When you are typing element, a value is coming, but it is being taken from the interned integer object 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? So not only list is a group of 5 integers, those 5 integers, when they were interned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are anyways interned, integer interned objects. So how it is taking is, because you used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and Python interns them, basically it caches them. Beautifully, it has organized this list in such a manner that every element is taken from the interned object rather than even creating a new object 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside the list. So I believe that you guys are able to get some in-depth understandings of. See, nobody will actually, in general, if you go to any course or I'm not telling I am a very good expert in Python. I know very little, but I always learn a concept little bit in depth instead of, okay, what is a list? Okay, print the list. Okay, over. Program is over. Append the list. Program is over. Search an element in the list. Program is over. No, those things can be done very easily. You should also understand the in-depth concepts. You should also understand the in-depth concepts. So I believe that participants will appreciate my argument that we should not only learn a concept, but we should have an in-depth knowledge. Here, the elements of the list are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are integer interned values. So Python fetches the values from those locations only without creating another or without creating separate instances. Okay. Our next doubt should be, what will happen if a list has integers which are not interned, or if a list has few integers which are interned and few integers which are not interned. I believe you guys are following me, because just from the address locations I can clearly say. Then somebody can question me, sir, how can you say one is interned? Okay, because you might have heard about my lectures in the earlier sessions, day 2 and day 3. So most likely people will understand. If any new participant is there, they may not understand. So I request them to go and watch the day 2 and day 3 videos. Now, let us go further and change the example with the values 5, 989 will not be interned, minus 9, definitely it is not interned. And then I am going back to -4. If you want to know, let me give in this way, like -3, -2, -1, 0. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 989 and -9. So here, other than the last two values, all other are integer interned values. Why I gave -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, so that you can see the consecutive memory locations also. Okay. Now let us try to execute the program again. Now I sincerely believe that whatever we have understood till now in the integer interning, that is still intact in the class, in the list object as well. Now clearly you can see that these are the consecutive locations, but 989 and -9, what exactly happens here is to have a list with the values. Let me just type and explain so that it is easy for you for a notes also. See, when we define my list with the values -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 989 and -9. That's correct, right? Every integer takes 16 bytes individually. Correct. So -3 to +3 are taken from the cached locations. Then 989 is stored in 50672160 location, and -9 is stored in 50675440. But the list object, my list, is stored in the location 51238440 in this program execution instance. Now when I am executing again, the values, the address locations of 989, -9 and my class list will change, but -3 to +3 will never change in my machine in this instance of Python application. Okay, I believe that you guys are understanding what exactly I am telling. So basically this object is also kind of a pointer now. How come, sir, you can say it is a pointer? See, it is not, it's a reference of an object list where few addresses of the elements are stored. When you are actually referring the name of the list, it is giving me the value. Okay, what I am telling is my list object will have all the locations of the elements defined inside my list. It will have a reference locations. Okay, then when the my list is accessed, Python fetches the values by default from the locations of each element. See, all these things are hidden. The moment you use the, see, basically what I am saying, the name of the list gives the value, but it actually stores the locations inside it. But these things are hidden to the user. These things are hidden to the user. Okay. let me now go to different. Subhash is asking, can't we use multiple data type? I have not come to that point, Subhash. Then KS Chaudhary is asking, what will happen? It's a good question, Mr. KS Chaudhary. What will happen if we give the repeated integer in the list and is the memory address is same for, let me tell that. As of now, did you understand this particular concept, what I am explaining? A list is simply not a group of elements. Basically, it's an object where the addresses of elements are also stored. Otherwise, how it will fetch? It is not like an array now. If it is an array, what will happen? Let me clear all the drawings. This concept is not like an array in C language. With respect to, or I can say one thing, not this concept. Okay, list is not like a C language with respect to the memory organization. What I mean to say, in array, there are similar data type elements stored in consecutive memory locations, but a list will never have consecutive locations. Rather, instead, it actually has different memory locations of each element stored in or pointed to, or that can be pointed from the list object. From the list object, for example, my list, from the list object in this program, my list, entirely the way it has been defined itself is different, but it looks the same. Square bracket is there, same data type elements is there, but it is exactly not like a list. Sorry, not like an array in C language. Okay, now let us go further. I believe that you are able to understand. I am not telling you, okay, list is a group of elements, list is the same data type element, list can do this, list can do that. No, I am just defining a list, and almost half in a, I think nearly 25 minutes, I am talking about only a single line list. Okay, what exactly is a list? It's an object. How exactly the elements are stored? If they are individual data types, then we extend it to what is the address. When you are seeing that line number 15, first I printed the element, then I added the type. Now I am adding the address. By seeing these three, now you can understand more concepts about list. Okay. Now one of the students asked me, can you just repeat 1, 2, again 1, or I will say 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now how many elements are there? There are 6 elements. Okay. Now let us try to execute the program and try to answer KS Chaudhary's doubt. I'm just mentioning your name so that you will feel like you are in a classroom kind of environment. Now, clearly you can see both the values, when they are 1 and 1, they share the same location. Why? Because 1 is an interned value. 1 is an interned value here. Okay. Now, let us go and type uninterned values. For example, 989 is uninterned, again 989. We give minus 99 and give minus 99. And then let me give 5000 and 5000. Now, let us try to understand how the memory management is done in Python. So here what is happening? Here, even though now it looks like 999 is also cached, correct? Because its locations are same. Minus 99, even though it is looks like it is also cached. Okay, so let me try to highlight and explain the again hidden concept here. These two looks they are sharing the same location, correct? Even these two and also the last two, right? Now, from the output, we can notice that when 999 minus 99 and 5000 are given twice, the locations are being shared. Locations are being shared. Does it mean 989 minus 99 and 5000 are integer interned? The answer is no. Then what is it? Why the common locations are coming? If it is not shared, integer interning means shared, no. How come the 989's locations are shared? That's the next question. Okay, this is where Python does the memory optimization in the background. Python always looks for optimum memory utilization. Python looks for optimum memory utilization when 999 is defined in my list twice. Say I am writing 989, that means you should understand that it is 99 minus 99 and 5000 also same concept. When 989 is defined in my list twice and they belong to list, no, Python takes them from the same instance location. Okay, suppose if it is interned, if 989 is interned, I should get the same address locations when I execute the program again. When I execute the program, I should get the same locations, but we will get another set of locations. But when an element is repeated, which is not interned, Python uses the shared location at that instant of time. That means the shared location may change at that instant. So I believe that the student's doubt is cleared. In case if you have any doubt, you please let me know. Let me know in case if you have any doubt. Let me clear all the drawings and execute the program again. You please observe now. The locations are shared, but the locations are entirely different. That's what I said in the annotations text box. I have written like that. Now we can notice that even though the locations are shared, when an element is repeated, they are not from the cached locations. They are dynamic locations. I believe everybody is now convenient with what I have explained till now in the list. In case if you have any doubt, you please let me know. See, everybody can teach what is a list, how to store elements in the list. We as an engineer, we should not bother about those basic things. Those things can be anyways understood. You should always know what exactly is happening in the memory locations. How Python is actually utilizing the memory. Is it saving the memory? Is it wasting the memory? Right? Now, let me continue. Another student has asked whether Python can store different elements or not. Let me come to that. Okay. So the next topic in the list is definitely Python can also store. A list can store different data type elements also. So definitely it is not like an array. It is like an array only when, if you can see, all items are same, but it is never. Sometimes there may be an interview question. Is list equal to array? Immediately you should not say, sir, sometimes it is equal, sometimes it is not equal. You should tell all these things. Immediately you should write, sir, can you please give a piece of paper? Or if you are in a virtual interview, you can say, sir, I would like to show you why array and list are different. Then immediately you write only these 2 lines and tell them that, sir, this is how the memory is managed. Then what will happen to the interviewer? They will definitely get impressed with the way in which you are explaining, rather than simply mugging up and telling the definitions. See, I have not explained a great concept here. It's a simple line. For each element in the list, usually people will type print element, all the elements came. Okay, happy. Program output came. I get S grade or excellent grade in the lab. It's not the case. Okay, you should always take an opportunity to get chance for in the interview, so that you can bring the interviewer to the strongest areas of your subject. You should not go to them, their court. Basically, what I am saying is, you should bring them to your court, and then you should make them ask questions which you can answer, rather than మనం ఏదేదో చెప్పేసాం అనుకోండి, రైట్? అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? People will not get impressed with you, and they will ask 100 questions. I am not saying when you are trying to explain in depth, you are going to get a job. I am not telling that. But this should be the attitude of an engineer. Why? Because of the sustenance in the field. You cannot sustain in the software engineering domain unless until you learn a subject in a in-depth way. Okay. So now, in between, I am trying to motivate you guys. So I hope the words what I am telling you make some sense. నేను చెప్పేది అర్థవంతంగా ఉంటుందని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. Right? Now, let us try to understand whether the list can store different type of elements or not. So my list equal to simple 1, 3.14 and Python. This example is enough to explain that yes, it takes, for example, for element in my list, print element, obviously type of element, and also the address of element. So I am not going to explain so much about whether list will store different data type elements. These 3 lines are enough. Oh, by mistake, instead of giving 3.14, I gave 3,14. Let me give 3.14. Clearly, you can see from the interned location, it has given me 1, that is 1509 something, and from dynamic locations, other 2 are also coming. So list can take different data type elements also. List can take different data type elements. So some people, out of enthusiasm, they may ask me, sir, can you type these again? 1, 1, 3.14, 3.14. I think the explanation, the output will be as expected. Okay, nobody should get a doubt now whether really the locations are shared or not. Obviously, the in a list, if any element is repeated, that element, even though, okay, that element, if it is interned, location is shared, okay, or I can say that element locations are shared instead of multiple instances. Simple. In a simple line I have written, instead of multiple instances, they are shared. So let me take the screenshot. And you can clearly see from the output, a list is a combination of 2 integer objects, 2 floating point objects, 2 string objects here. For example, print my list, comma, type of my list. Then you can clearly see here. Basically, my list is a class list, object of class list, and it is a combination of different data type elements. Even you can also say the ID of list. I think this will give you the entire information. Oh, sorry, my list, not list. Yeah. So I think you guys might have understood the in-depth knowledge of how list is managed. See, I'm not telling how to find the length of a list. How to find a length of a list? You can just go use len and use the list. You will know the length of the list. You can know all the basic methods available in list, because our intention is something else. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to have file management, database connectivity, web application development, then image processing related packages, data science related packages, etc., etc. How caching is done. Okay, so these first 5 days are only giving you some in-depth knowledge about the basics. Okay, now a list is mutable. The next topic is list is a mutable object. List is an iterable object. List is mutable. List is mutable. Syed is asking me a doubt, saying if this is the case, then list is a group of same data type element statement will be. See, list can have the same data type elements also, Syed. I am not saying it is wrong. List can be empty, list can be same data type elements, list can be different data type elements. All the three is correct, Syed. Akash is asking me a concept which is list of lists. Okay, Akash, definitely it is possible. We have not come to such kind of concept here as of now. Akash, a list can have a sublist. A list can have sublist, definitely. Okay, that we will see later on. When I am explaining you Python data science concepts, I may use some list of lists. Not here, maybe in the end of the Python for Engineers program, you will see, Akash, that I will be using list of lists. Now, list is mutable. What is mutable? That means individual elements can be changed. Individual elements can be changed, which was not possible in string. So what I mean to say, my list is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now print my list, type of my list, and ID of my list. Okay. Let me print twice. Now let me change my list of 0 is equal to 989 or some other value like 535. What is happening here? We are trying to actually change the first element of the list. We are trying to change the first element of the list. Okay. Now, per element in my list, print element, type of element, ID of element. Correct. And we will do the same thing after changing the values also. After changing one value. See, I am writing multiple times so that you will get a clear picture when I am executing the program. List is mutable. That means individual items can be changed. When individual items can be changed, entire list also can be changed, obviously. Okay. Now let us try to execute. See here, what you have to observe in this particular output is not about the values being changed. Obviously, the value 1 is now replaced with 535. That is not the main observation that you should understand. What you should understand is the address of list object is never changed. That is the concept of a mutable object. It's not a new object which is created. In that object, one of the elements address is removed and a new address is kept. Basically, what I mean to say is, everybody see here, this is gone and instead of that exact one, 535 has come with a new location, but the objects, that basically the my list object address is same. My list object address is same. Okay, so this is about the concept of mutable object list. In case if you have any doubt, you please let me know. Two observations. One is replaced with 535 with a different location. Why? Because 535 is not interned anyways. Okay. Now, my list object address is unchanged. 577924040. See, when you execute in your machine, do not check the values in my screenshot because it will differ. Only check the values are same or not. In your machine, you may get a different value. Exactly. Sometimes there is a difficulty in sharing all the screenshots. What happens is students used to tell me, sir, your screenshot is okay, sir, but I am not getting the same value. Because your machine may be different. And even in my own machine, unless until the integer objects which are interned, rest all. In another instance, tomorrow if I execute, the same one will have a different location. Okay. Here you should not see the number. You should only see whether the instances are changed or not when the element is changed. Okay. Any more doubts? If you have, you let me know. Sushant is asking, sir, may I know what is interned in Python? Kindly please watch day 2 and day 3 and day 4 sessions, Sushant. Integers -5 to 256 are interned and some strings are interned. So I request Sushant to please watch the earlier recorded videos. I believe that you are a new joinee. That's why you are asking. What is interned in Python? Okay. Interning means caching. Okay. Any more doubts? Fine. Now take a couple of minutes break. Now the time is 5:06 now. At 5:08 we will get back and we will continue. Okay. So I hope the topics are clear till now. Okay. One of the student is asking in a private message saying that explain mutable object concept. I don't know whether you are available yesterday or not. Roll number 1296. Are you available? Did you listen yesterday's concept? Okay, no problem. I will explain what is mutable. See, mutable means when you are able to change individual elements. For example, when I am coming here, oh sorry, I should execute it. Please try to understand the student who asked me the doubt, what is mutable? Here, if it is a string, yesterday I explained, individual item in a string cannot be changed. But whereas individual elements of a list can be changed, that is called as mutable. Mutable means which can change, which can change. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the elements. I am giving my list of 0 equal to, I am replacing this 1 with 535 and it is being replaced. If you see the output, see here, initially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were there. In the location 16176680, in the same location, now you see 535, 2, 3, 4, 5 are there. So 1 is replaced with 535. This concept is called as a mutable object concept. Something which can change. If you want more understanding, I guess I have shared a tutorial with you. You guys can go read it. And in case of any doubt, you can ask me in the WhatsApp groups or in tomorrow's session. In case if you have any doubt in the concept of understanding list is mutable. Okay. Is it fine? Shall I continue? Shall I continue? Okay. Now, let me write one small example as well, which Akash has mentioned. List can be list of lists. What is that? My list equal to, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a list. This is a list, but I can keep 3, 4, 5 in another list. See here. What is this? It's a list of another sublist. Now, let me access the elements. For element in my list, print element, comma, type of element, comma, ID of element. Now let us try to understand what is this. Actually, there is a list that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 3, 4, 5 is itself a list. And the 3, 4, 5 is there in a list which is having 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. Now, let me execute the program. Clearly, you can see it is not giving me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is giving me 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5 at a time as a list object. I believe you guys are able to make it out. For example, see here, 1 is obviously an integer object. 2 is also integer object, but 3, 4, 5, because it is a list, it is giving me as 3, 4, 5 at a time as class list. in one place. Now, sir, I want only 3, 4, 5 individually, not 3, 4, 5. Then what you have to do? You need to write another loop and try to get it. In case if it is a class list, then you can access the this one individual elements. For example, I don't want 3, 4, 5 at a time. I want 3, 4, 5 individually. I want 3, 4, 5 individually. Yes, there you can also see KS Chaudhary and Akash. You are asking me a doubt where I didn't even arrive to a concept of tuple and dictionary. In a list, you can have a tuple dictionary also. See, there are many things, but I am still into the fundamental concept. So please wait for some more time. Okay. Now, if I say instead of individual elements, I can also write my list of 0. I can write my list of 1. Then my list of 2. In my list of 2, there are 3 elements. In my list of 2, there are 3 elements. So print, I think I should have copied like this. Okay. My list of 1, my list of 2, and try to print. Clearly you can see in my list of 2, 3, 4, 5 are coming. In case if you want individual like 3, 4, 5, then what you have to do? You can also write my list of 2 of 0. Inside there is a double dimension now. There is a double dimension. Now I am going to give you one assignment. Instead of directly writing like this, 0, 1, 2, 2 of 0, 2 of 1, 2 of 2. The assignment is automatically by the program. I don't know how many I will define. I can define 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a sublist, or I can define many sublists. Automatically, your program should give me individual elements irrespective of how many level of sublists I am giving. At least take 2 levels. What I mean to say, listen here. The assignment is my list can be 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then there can be a sublist. For example, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6. After that, there can be a sublist like 9, 10. Okay. So one sublist is having 3 elements. One sublist is having 2 elements. There can be another sublist like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, like this. 9, 10. Now, your program should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 individual elements, but without writing directly an index like this. You can also calculate, okay, where is the 4? 4 is in my list of 3. So 3 of 0, 3 of 1, 3 of 2, 4 of 0, 4 of, you should not give directly like this, but you should automatically write a program and you practice and show to your faculty. You may not be able to show me, but you should be able to show to your faculty. Okay. So that's it about some part of lists. Let us now move to the another concept that is called as a tuple. Okay. Only majorly two differences are there in a list and a tuple. So you guys will very easily understand. I'm not going to explain again what is the address of the object tuple, and all the address concepts, whatever I told in list, will remain same. Okay, but there are fundamental differences. Those things we will see. I believe that you got a rough idea about what is a list. See, there are so many methods that you can use on list. You can append two lists into a single list. You can delete an item. You can find a maximum element in a list. You can find the minimum in a list. You can splice a list. There are so many things you can do. Those are very, very foundational concepts. I believe that you can read through some online material and learn by yourself. In case if you face any difficulty, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group or during the session. Okay, now what is a tuple? What is a tuple? To understand basic concepts of tuple. Basic concepts of tuple. Okay. K.S. Chaudhary, definitely it is possible to insert a tuple inside a list also, right? But we will see later on. Okay, to understand the basic concepts of tuple, let me create an empty tuple. Create an empty tuple. Create an empty tuple. Okay. So the first difference is tuple is represented with parenthesis. Tuple is represented with parenthesis. What is parenthesis? You know that in void main we used to give, or any function in when you are calling if, right? We give parenthesis. So I can simply say my tuple is equal to, and then print my tuple, type of my tuple, and ID of my tuple. So Python understand tuples.py. I might have given something wrong here. Yeah. Okay, okay. I understood there is a small syntactical mistake here. Yeah, now it is correct. So you can clearly see that there is an object called as tuple. Basically tuple belongs to a class tuple. Basically here my tuple is a reference object of class tuple. So all those concepts of list will be same applicable. That means like list, a tuple can be group of same data type elements. Tuple can be same data type elements. If you want to understand that, you can simply say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. Let us give only 1, 2, 3. For element in my tuple, print element, type of element, then ID of element. I may not explain so much of details about this particular statement because it is almost the same. Only at this point of time, the difference is instead of square bracket, there is a angular parenthesis. So you can see here almost it is a tuple object is okay. let me give the empty tuple into comments, and just a second, guys. Before printing each and every element, I am also trying to print the tuple as a whole. Yeah, this will be correct for taking me a screenshot as well. I believe all the screenshots and whatever running notes I am writing, it is useful for your reference at any point of time, because this is an electronic notes. Unless until you destroy it, it will not be destroyed, right? Or now you can see clearly it is exactly like the class only. A tuple object is stored somewhere and which has the reference of address locations 1, 2, 3 integers. Okay. Now, obviously, a tuple can store multiple values. Tuple can also have different data type elements. Different data type elements. So for that, let me take another segment of code. Okay. So simply I will say 2.34 and then Python. So let me execute again. You can clearly see that even tuple is also accepting like a list only. Then definitely, what is the difference here and why a tuple is used? Because other than square bracket and angular bracket, there is nothing else. Okay. Now, let us try to change an individual element in a tuple. Tuple is also iterable. Tuple is a iterable. Okay. Tuple is immutable. Tuple is immutable object. That means individual elements cannot be changed. Individual elements cannot be changed, or you cannot delete the element. For example, let me come to the list program once. Let me come to the list program. Let me come to the end and write a small piece of code. Okay. So one second. My list is equal to, in square bracket, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can say delete. Okay. Delete my list of 0. Then delete is a method by default. When you call, it deletes a individual item, or if you give my list, it will delete the entire object. Delete basically deletes the object. Okay. So before, let me print the my list before the delete, and after the delete also, let us try to execute this part of the program to understand what will be the output. So clearly you can say that the list is, the class list object location did not change. Only the first value is deleted. So this is also another property of a mutable list. We can delete an item from the list as list is mutable. But same thing you cannot do in the tuple. I hope you guys are following me. So if I write immutable, by default, you should understand what is immutable. So let me take a my tuple and then try to delete my tuple of 0. That is the value 1. And then let me print again. Here it will give syntax error. Syntax error will appear, or simply syntax error. Okay. Now let us try to understand this segment of code. Py understand tuples.py. Some part of the program will come because Python is an interpreter. If it is a C language, you will not get even some part of the output. So first time, line number 23. Line number 23 has printed the tuple, but line number 24 has given me a syntax error saying that tuple object does not support item deletion just because tuple is immutable. You cannot, tuple is immutable in Python. So this is the major difference. Rest all will be similar to the list only, like other than the square bracket and angular bracket. Now, in the coming sessions also, most likely today, also I will try to explain. If not today, maybe tomorrow when we are extending the session of functions, I will explain you another fundamental place where tuples are used. See, definitely the main doubt will be, hey, there is a list, there is a tuple, there is a dictionary. Where we have to use this? Why these many things are there in Python, right? Tuples are mainly used in functions and database connectivity also. In database and Python connectivity, tuples are used exclusively. So when I am explaining functions, I will again revisit about tuple, and when I am explaining Python and database connectivity, again I will come back to tuple. You can also have tuple of tuples. Like list of lists, you can have tuple of tuples. So all those basic concepts are very much intact. Okay. Now shall we move on to the dictionary part? Yeah. See, tuples can be sorted. Tuples can fetch the minimum element of the tuple. You can get the maximum element of the tuple. For example, I don't want to tell all the basics actually. So otherwise it will take, means more sessions will be required only for this concept. So I hope you guys will appreciate. I want to give a rough idea, and I am telling you initially itself the complete analysis of that particular object. How exactly the locations are there, individual elements address everything, which will not be taught or looked in any textbooks. You will not find this. Okay, only textbooks and other classes will have what is the list, type the list, append the list, sort the list. Okay, for example, my list is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if I type minimum of my list, immediately minimum value will come. If I type max of my list, maximum value will come. Okay, like that you will get for tuple also. For example, my tuple, I think there is no need for me to explain all those things. So like that, there are many methods available, okay, which you can learn by yourself, So let us go ahead and try to understand what is a dictionary. What is a dictionary? So if you want to understand dictionary in Python, okay, I will tell a small example. To understand dictionary in Python, let us understand what is a dictionary which we might have used in school days. Tell me, what is a dictionary? Everybody will know, no? Telugu to English dictionary, Nighantuvu. Telugu to English dictionary, English to Hindi dictionary, Hindi to Telugu to English dictionary, right? Okay. A dictionary will have word and its meanings, correct? Actually, not one word. It will have words and its meanings. For example, if you say, you just go to dictionary and type, or you can search any item for that particular word, how many meanings are there? All the meanings will be there. Similarly, in Python, dictionary is a key value pair. What is key value? Key is like a word we search in a dictionary. Value is the meaning of the word. So, in a dictionary, we can have one key with many values, or one value, or I should say one key with one or many values, and also we can have keys and their values. Keys and their values. So when you refer a key, you can get a value. When you refer a key, you will get a value. Tell me if this basic understanding is clear or not. I think many of the students are responding prior to my explanation in the chat, I think. Yes, all your understandings are correct. Fine. Now, let us try to define a dictionary, simple dictionary. See again, I am going to use these dictionaries in file management exclusively. So, I am not going to explain all the concepts of dictionary, but to give a good amount of idea. So, NPP, understand dictionary.py. Understand dictionary.py. A dictionary is represented in a set of curly brace. Square bracket is a list. Parenthesis is a tuple. Curly brace is for dictionary and set also. So what is a curly brace? I think you can understand. Create an empty dictionary. If you use curly brace, that is called as an empty dictionary here. Okay. For example, my DICT is equal to print my dictionary, type of my dictionary, and also the location if you want to see my dictionary. Okay. Now, let me execute this program. It's a very simple logic. Now, obviously, you can see that when an empty curly brace is given, it shows that it's a class dictionary object. DICT is dictionary. Okay. A class dictionary object. How to give a key and value here? How to give a key and value. Okay. So one of the participant is asking me to stop my video. So shall I stop my video? In some of the chat box, Mr. Satish Kumar says mute your video. So organizers, can I mute my video, or shall I continue like this? Okay, okay, okay. So majority of the people are saying, yeah, continue.
Actually, some participant has on this video. That's why that person is asking that participant to stop the video.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
You can continue, sir.
Yes. Continuing. Thank you. So let us try to create some values. For example, instead of empty dictionary, see, empty dictionary is only for our understanding how a dictionary can be defined. Okay, let us see an empty dictionary now. A dictionary with some key and values. So my dictionary is equal to, you have to give the key. For example, names. Now when you give colon, before the colon, whatever you are writing, that will be the key. And after the colon, for example, see, I am giving in a dictionary a list like Ramesh and Suresh. I think these names are very familiar. Just a second, guys. My battery is running low. Let me just connect to my battery. I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay. Let us continue. So I think Ramesh, Suresh, the names are very famous. I think one of the advertisement of 5-star chocolate, right? So I have used it. So here, names is the key, and Ramesh and Suresh are the values of the keys, names. So you can simply print my dictionary. Let me execute the program. You can clearly see that individually that names, everything is coming. However, whatever we defined, exactly the same thing is coming. So here, names is the key, and the values are Ramesh and Suresh. Now, so the next, I don't want the entire thing, like I don't want names, Ramesh, Suresh. I want only the name without the key. I want only the name without the key. So that is also possible. Oh, 1 second. I have executed something wrong. So let me just. So here, names is the key, and Ramesh and Suresh are the values. Just for the taking a screenshot, I am typing again. Now, how can I get only the values Ramesh and Suresh without the key NAMES names. So I can also do that. Okay, see here, my dictionary, give me the values of the key names. So this prints the whole dictionary, prints the values of the key names, prints the value of the key names. Okay. Let me execute and show you the output as well. Oh, I forgot to keep the parenthesis in the end of the print. Yeah, now when I am executing, the line number 7 gives me the entire dictionary, but the second statement, basically the print statement in line number 8, gives me only the values Ramesh and Suresh. Now, can I have multiple keys? Obviously, yes. You can have multiple keys. So how to do that? I'm taking the entire thing again. Now, you can also define age, colon, 35 and 45. Now, I can also print individually. For example, I want only the age. Then you can print in the same manner how we print the names. Okay. Now, let us try to observe the output. You can clearly see that individual values of individual keys are also possible. Okay. Now, I am going to revisit the concept of dictionary when I am explaining you comma separated value file handling. Okay. So in case if you want to know more about dictionaries, I think you can. And when I am explaining the data science related topic in the end of the workshop, I think there is one session for Python for data science. There also I will use dictionaries. Okay. So as and when I am explaining some advanced concepts, I am going to use these the topic of list, tuple, dictionary again and again. So with that liberty, let me go to, there are so many concepts that you can do in dictionary. I believe that you can go and exclusively watch any online resource or a textbook, or I have given a tutorial where clearly all the things available in dictionary are also mentioned there. Okay. Now, let us try to understand what is a set. You know what is a set in mathematics, right? Set will be denoted by same thing, but here indexing is there for list, tuple, and dictionary. Basically, you can also say, for example, if you want to access only Ramesh value, Ramesh and Suresh are two names, no? If you want only Ramesh, then you can give names of 0. For example, NPP. I don't want all the names. I want only the first name. In the key names, let me check whether it is possible like this. I believe that you guys might have understood what I am trying to explain you. Okay. You can extract individual values of a particular key by using the indexing. So list, tuple, and dictionary has indexing. List, tuple, and dictionary are indexed in Python. Now, some participants are asking me whether dictionary is mutable or immutable. I leave it to you guys. You please go and try to change the values and try to change the keys. I am giving a hint now. Try to change the values and check whether it is changing or not. Then try to change the key also. Then just check whether it is mutable or immutable. Okay. And in case if you fail to check, tomorrow you please ask me in the beginning of the session. We will discuss about that. Now, I think set also we will explain tomorrow. I will explain set tomorrow. Why? Because set is very simple to understand as well. For example, the only difference between set in mathematics set and this set is unindexed data structure. For example, let me just write understand sets dot py set is unindexed in Python. Set is obviously group of items, but unindexed. This one line is enough to make you understand. That means you cannot perform indexed based operations like list, tuple, and dictionary. For example, set my set is equal to print my set, type of my set, then ID of my set. So what it will do, obviously it will create an empty set. Creates an empty set. There are two ways to define an empty set. Okay. One is by using the method set. Oh, I have to execute Python understand sets.py. Now you can see it's a class. Again, there is an object. Obviously, in Python, because it follows object-oriented paradigm, you can see that there is a object which is created from the class set. Okay. Now, it's very simple to understand. Okay. I believe that you guys can really go through and learn by yourself. Okay. In case if you have any difficulty, we will revisit the sets tomorrow. Okay. In set, there is no indexing. For example, if you give the values 1, 2, 3, 4, then when you are printing it, it will not print 1, 2, 3, 4. It will print randomly, sometimes 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 2, 1. So basically, it is an unordered group of items. Set is an unordered group of items. Set is a unordered group of items. Okay. Now, let me continue with another topic which is actually very, very important. That is about functions. That is about functions. Okay. So tell me in list tuple dictionary if you have any doubt. So I think Akash has already responded that a dictionary is mutable. Okay. So tell me if you have any doubts. Okay. Otherwise, we will start. Now the time is 5:55. So anyways, I am going to take 10 minutes extra because of, I think today we started the session on time. So I think it makes sense to stop the session on time. So we have 6 minutes time. You can now, does sets allow duplicates? Yes, it will allow duplicates. It will allow duplicates, but finally it will remove, no? Like how we used to write in mathematics, in the same way it will also do. Okay. So tell me if you have any doubts in list dictionary Python, because there is 5 minutes time left. So I don't want to start a new topic that is functions. Let us see tomorrow that functions. Okay. So in case of any doubts, you please let me know. Otherwise, if I start a new topic, it will not be ended in 5 minutes and it is not good. So in case if you have any doubt, you please let me know.